Are we getting there?
We can't see anything different yet.
Do you see the very first slide or not?
No. Yeah.
Okay, let's try again. So I need to bring this one. Hang on.
If you click on share, it should ask you, do you want to share your screen? Yes. Well done.
All right, coming back. Thank you.
Great. We've got you.
All right, thanks. I'm a bit rusty. All right, better? I'm in
Yeah.
slideshow. Okay. So that was November. Last week in October until mid-November. This person on the back is actually curator, so she was modeling for this photograph. This was one of the like off chance exhibition. I went to this place, Webb's, it's auction house and gallery in Wellington. I went there with a group of friends, a group from community center, and just happened to chat with the person at the reception. This is lovely space. What do I need to do to have a show in here? She said, talk to me. So I'm the curator here. So I said, oh, well, wonderful. And we talk. And she studied in Central Saint Martin, something like that. So we talked about London for a while. And she came to my studio and she liked what she saw. She said, I have this Korean photographer having a show in November. Would you be interested in joining him? So that was about March this year. So I said, of course, and that's how it started. So it was three-person show. Jae-hoon Lee is a Korean photographic artist. He studied in San Francisco and his MA and PhD in Auckland. Paul Hartigan is a New Zealand, he is actually sculptor, but this one he is showing his ceramic work. So my painting, three people show, I think has a very good synergy between three. So that's how it started. So I think front shot first work is Jaehoon's photography, and that's Jaehoon's, and that's the Paul Hartigan's brass work and my paintings. And please feel free to come in and make a comment and ask question as you see needed. So very overall aerial shot and brass work. So I had few pieces here. These two pieces are my embroidery, about 160, no, 60 by 100, which is width by length. It's Lamy fabric and hand stitch. Took me about 2 years. I started 2019, and during COVID, when we have a limited access to studio, when I was in my apartment flat in Battersea, I did this work. And here you see bit different two-layer colors. This was original material. This I dyed to green color with mint and vinegar, but over a period the color faded, and I think it's still okay as it is. So there was two piece there. And when I had it in RCA, actually I had those wall sort of this is cotton thread to basically extend the idea of the lines. At the time I was very focused on lines and shape sort of thing. So this is how it shows in Upper Gulbenkian uh, gallery on the Stevens building, I think. The other pieces are these three pieces, I call them cascade. Again, when you were showing in Upper Gulbenkian, I had the three in a row. I believe in odd numbers, so you see three and then five and seven lines going across on here. The other piece I worked for this show was these pieces, four of this on sort of horizon display. This was actually from last year. I had residency at Wellington Arts Center. Switch gave me studio for 3 weeks, a little bit of stipend. And at the time, I was very much doing the gray layers over and over. So only two pieces were sort of reserved enough for exhibition at the time. So I only showed those two. And when this curator came to my studio early this year, she said, "This is very interesting. Can you finish them?" So originally I had four pieces. So two were completed and two I worked just before my trip to come to UK early this year. Then decided to have a little bit of color. So hence the four pieces you saw in that exhibition. This one, you might remember that one I did when I was in UK. So it was in Kate Place for our group show about 3 years ago. And over a period of time, it was originally three pieces. And I've donated one to Rotary Club auction and the other one to the community center charity auction. This was the last piece and I put it in. And this was sold. And I guess small pieces somehow get sold. Large pieces are good to see, but seldom get sold. It's funny. I find it is quite interesting. I usually say to people, I create the work because I have this quiet desire to create something. And it's not for basically going to trade show or sale, but in fact, it's quite nice feeling when someone actually liked it enough and pay a little bit of money to buy it and it's gone. It's kind of nice feeling. So I've told them it. And this is the photo work. I thought, Sharon, you might find it interesting. This guy does the manipulate images. He's very much focused on cloud at the moment. So he has some images, something from internet, etc. And he basically going through lots of iteration of doing this and doing that until he feels comfortable enough to show it, I guess. And that's other work, some color. And this is multiple images all together. Um, so he's the one who is encouraging me to go to University of Auckland for PhD, which is called FA, Doctorate of Fine Art. It's 70% work and 30% um, dissertation is requires 30,000 words. So we'll get to that a bit later. So those are his work. Quite fascinating work. And third part was the brass work by this guy, Paul Hattigan. He's actually the sculptor. That's his work in Auckland, very much neon and sort of abstract, bit like a Bryce Marden's painting, sort of organic shapes, sort of thing. So that's all for the my recent show. Any slide would you like to go back to talk? Or should I continue with my other PowerPoint?
Yon Yi, I would love to see the three long skinny ones again. Do you know what I mean? The long skinny paintings early on because I guess I had this thought, yeah, the cascade, right? That's what you call these. Your
Mm.
your work has um has evolved so much and I am amazed to this might seem really rudimentary, but I had my own little awakening while you were giving your this first part of the presentation, and that was that your work is so subtle and so specific. I have always wondered, how does this work evolve? And having listened to you and talked with you when you were writing about your work, it's really interesting to see how it's sort of fulfilling what you were talking about and this more expansive sort of softer appearing and disappearing that's happening, so much less bounded. It's amazing how different the work is. It makes me giddy a little bit. So I think
Mm.
it's fascinating that such subtle and specific work can have such a profound transformation. I'm very excited for you, and thanks for letting me say that in the middle of your presentation.
Oh, thank you. All right. Perhaps I can if everybody is okay with it, I can continue with another PowerPoint because it's talking about how I do what I do.
Oh,
Will
good.
that work?
That was
I
going to be
just
my question was like, how did you get there? How did the transformation happen? And so, yeah, so keep going.
Yes, Sharon, you're saying.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, I also love the ones where that you've just finished, which you only had the slide of the two, which again, it seems like there's a very subtle color vibrational sort of things going on where you've lost these hard lines, if you could call them that, in those ones, because they're not hard. And then you've moved through to even more subtle transformations between sort of planes and color and the next one down. Yeah, I find those really sort of haunting and beautiful as well. Really atmospheric.
Thank you. As I said, only two of those I felt it reserved. But then when I showed that to Virginia, basically these two evolved into these four. This one is still very much of just gray only. The other ones, actually, there was a bit of a mistake. So I put the color to cover it and ended up putting a couple more colors. And then Virginia liked it. She said, I'd really like you to complete all of this before the show, which I did. But then this one looks just so fine as it is. I didn't put any colors. But others, actually, I'm quite happy the way that evolved. And also, we had a studio opening day earlier this year, and at the time, I have those into this particular format. And somebody came, hey, I'd like to see what they look like if you put in horizontal shape, which I did. And it just gives you different feeling as you know how we move the things about, and somehow they tell different stories or convey different feelings. So in the end, for this show, I put them in sort of a landscape format, but they can also go into, yeah, portrait format too. In my next slide, I can show you a couple of other things. All right, time to move on. Okay, let's go into this and then bring something else. So share here. So I'm actually sending application to three places. One is University of Auckland. The other one is called Auckland University, AUT, Auckland University of Technology, which has a really good reputation and facilities. According to some people, it's coming a bit like RMIT in New Zealand. And the one is Massey, which is my alma mater where I did BFA. Anyway, three things are going in. They basically require pretty similar thing. And the portfolio is supposed to be presented on PowerPoint base. So I'm working on it and I put a couple of other things for us to have a bit of this discussion. So title, I put it meaning of monochrome, reduction, repetition, and praxis, because I'm very process oriented. And my work is getting very much of reduction, repetition, getting simpler. I put it in very simple term. So this is going back to RCA time. Praxis is doing versus poiesis making. You probably have gone through all of this during your dissertation stage. So I'm going to do a couple of artists, process and material based artists as a performance based. So I'm going to put a little bit of idea behind poiesis and praxis. And Karan Bharat, post-humanity, humanist performative too. I'm trying to say my work is very much a personal performative work, not like Maria Abram or any other performance artist who engage an audience, have a conversation or dialogue between the artist and the audience. Mine is very much of my own. And the result come out with some sort of art form, which I'm still working on it, which is not a purpose, but that's the result. So monochrome, of course, you would remember start from Malevich Black Scare, and I would have a couple of Korean danseco artists. That was what I wrote in my dissertation. Dissertation is based on colors and meanings. And after all this color thing, I come to basically monochrome in the gray. And that's what I'm going to talk. And moving on, Greek idea of episteme and technique. And the more I travel around the world, the more I get exposed to Western and Asian philosophies, the more I find the similarities. Back then in South Korea, 70s and 80s, when I was going to school, we were encouraged to read classics in Chinese classics as well as European classics. There is Confucius teaching. He said three pledges of enlightened man. I'll come back to this in later on. And then also Taoism cultivation and Buddhism meditation. Those are all my sort of childhood upbringing in South Korea. Then I want to talk about the materials, that Hanji Korean paper and mochi, which you saw in my embroidery. Those are all handmade and it's very labor intense process. And I think the material itself work with what I trying to do with my work. And the last one, just like what Lester said in his presentation, we need to see where this research is filling the gap in current contemporary art practice. So I want to put the case in the traditional method of tactile and handmade and old-fashioned work in this era of AI and computer-generated work, which is also very fine. But my work is more of traditional, old-fashioned way. I hope I can make some case on that. So that's Black Scare, of course. And this is Yoon Hyung-gun. His work is called Burnt Umber and Ultramarine. He used the linen and very thin, bit like Helen Frankenthaler, but more of uh, pure color, again, similar to Rothko in big work and bold colors, working to emotions. And that's Park Sober. His work is very much of, again, repetition based. And there's, what's the other one? Seo. He pushed the colors against this material more like a burlap sort of base. And again. This color is not painted but pushed through from the fabrics. That's his method. And then where are we? Here, that's Richard Long, a walk made by, no, a line made by walking. Yeah. Richard Long's land-based artist. Early this year, I went to Tate Modern and they had one room filled with his work. It's very inspiring. And that's Solage. He spent whole his life writing numbers. So 92, 8774 whatsoever. So Solage is painting by numbers. Here we are. That's the Confucius three pleasure of the enlightenment. It is a pleasure to study and practice. That's episteme and what's the other one? Technique, basically, I thought. And I'm trying to do that with my life. And also, second pleasure is, isn't it good to have a friend visiting from distant place? Isn't that nice? And the last one, if nobody uh, appreciate your value, still you don't get bothered by it. Isn't that a pleasure? It just shows such a sage state of one's content life. So to study and at times practice what has learned, is this not a pleasure? It's a wonderful word, I think. So this again is my current work is like that at the moment. This is the screen print I did in 2022. Again, very gray. And monoprint on Korean paper I mentioned earlier is Mulberry bark, and they go through all sort of process to make the paper. So when I went Korea many years ago, I bought a bunch of those. And um, after I finished my work, I had a opportunity to work for Royal College for a year at the student council, and I had a full access to library and all those workshops. So I did my own screen print for about a year. And you might remember all those technicians in Asia, they're wonderful. So Saturday morning I get there, and technician there was always so happy to help. So he made a film for this, and I did quite a lot. And this is the one that I like most. So I framed it. I still have it. And those are ones that I mentioned earlier, my color work on linen base about 4 years before. Oh, this PowerPoint, I'm supposed to show all my previous work. So I'm going through this. And going through this, I think I go back to question that Kate mentioned earlier, that how I started with all those colorful work, and then my basically going back to very uh, simple one. This is my current work in the studio. So it's evolved from those three pieces uh, based on gray. I divide my space again 7 or 9, and then do mixed color gray. My gray also coming from three primaries: red and blue and yellow. And I think I mentioned in one of my earlier presentation, I moved warm blue and cold blue together, like Parlour blue and ultramarine blue together have a very neutral feel. And red and yellow, they all have a warm yellow and cold yellow, like uh, ochre, yellow ochre is warm and lemon yellow is cold. So I always put those two different yellows, two different yellow, two different blue, and two different um, red, and combine them together, coming into neutral gray. And some of my gray is slightly warm, some of my gray is slightly cold, but still they work together well. So I put those layers, see how that comes out, and when I feel they are resolved in some way, then I stop. And then this one is floating colors on top of it. Again, putting some colors to see how it works. That is my degree show, 221, very much a gray base and gray lines. And this was wall drawing with the oil pastel. You might remember at that time we didn't have access to our studio space because of COVID and crowd control mechanism. So it was in Promer Place. And again, technician there was wonderful. So I had two, I think, of the board and installed them, and then painted with the same wall paint color at the chromal place, and then do the crayon lines. At the time, I was trying to get extension of the lines. Title was Fraction. And again, someone bought this one, and it was good feeling. And there was my studio during the COVID. I had a whole studio of 7 meter by 3 meter on my own because half of stunt didn't come back from China and other part of the world. It was wonderful. Those are 5 pieces that this was the very first ones that I was doing with the gray lines and color floating on it. Again, I put the drawing on the below just to see. That's when I was introduced Hitostratos, that multiple perspective. So I titled this as a shadow of stream, and the shadow was actually the lines, and stream was the painting. And 2022, we had a stop exhibition at the RCA, and this was at the library. The title was Hidden, and it was displayed in the vertical format. This was displayed on one of the studio just to see how they look when they're all in a line in format. So I just kept the photo of this, and I haven't had a chance to put it in this way because it requires about 3 meter high space, and I haven't found that yet. And this like 5 years ago, before I came to RCA. This I think is spring. There was summer. There is autumn, and there's winter. In winter, I have quite a lot of warm blue just to make the not a cold winter, but warm winter. And that was bought by this club in Wellington. And they kind enough to make the frame and put it in the foyer. It's called Four Seasons. Not like a rose goes going work going into Four Seasons, but I think they look okay as they are. And again, that's my drawing at the Bessie stage. This went into drawing competition and made a finalist. It was a color pencil drawing on art paper, about 1.2 meter wide and 80, non meter centimeter. Very geometric. And my work at the time was very much like that. This was my degree show, watercolor on paper at the Massey. So that's about 10 years ago. So you could see from that to where I am. So that's a current piece that I'm working on. Is this one. Hope that answered somehow to Kate and Sharon's comment. Uh, okay, if I give me a minute, if I can find it. Here, I'll stop sharing. And this, can you see it? Anyway, that's from Mondrian's work. I have a neighbor who subscribed to London Review of Books, and she sent it to me saying, Yoni, you might find this interesting. It was Mondrian's work. And in the interview was saying about Mondrian's all those, vertical or horizontal lines. And Mondrian says in his interviews that after all those work, he can never go back to very realistic painting or drawing because he evolved so much from there and he's in very much abstract stage. And I'm hoping I'm there to hope and I'm sort of following that sort of step because these days I'm getting into quite abstract, very simplified, that sort of line and colors. And not so much of narrative or stories, but almost like a pure abstract forms. There's no story in my work, basically. I start with division of space, see how it works, put the colors, and see how it works, and try to listen to my work. Gerhard Lecter, in one of his interviews, says at some stage his work start to instruct him, and that's again what I'm trying to do. What is the work talking to me? It's more of my own um, dialogue between me and my work. And one of my artist uh, artist writing, I put it in, is a tale between the tailor, which is me, and the tale itself being told, which is the work. And it is sort of joint project. Does it make sense? Anyway, that's where I am. Sort of. So that's that.
Did your physical process change? The new works look so much more like they're allowed to kind of breathe and spread a little bit, whereas the other ones is so tightly controlled. How did your process evolve?
That's really good point, Kate. I used to be quite control freak. I had to see the end before I start. During my work days when I was working full time in marketing for 20 years, about 90s, there was really popular book called Seven Habits of Highly Efficient People. And one of the principles start with end in mind. And then I used to be like that. I have to see what is at the end before I started. But then now I'm learning not to do that. Happy to just start and go with the flow thing. I guess once you're over 60, you can afford to actually be a little bit more relaxed. These days, actually, I don't worry about what other people say or talk as well. I get less careful in a way when I say or do things. More of, okay, this doesn't bother anyone else actually as much as I'm thinking they would. A lot of other people actually don't care what I say or what I do. So I'm feeling a lot more comfortable or in a way more confident in what I'm doing. So going back to your comment, Kate, much less control these days. I like to just let it go away. And when it's not quite there, it's okay. I used to have a very strict lines, and when the line gets a little bit of bleeding, I get very bothered and use brushes to clean it up, all that. Some of my works, lines and colors to cover my sort of mistake at that stage. But these days, I'm happy to have a little bit of bleeding out, and I think it looks more humane in that way. Self-justification, you might say.
Yeah, I think they have the quality of breath. You know what I mean? Like they have
Thank you.
covering opening quality now, and I
Mm,
think it's very exciting, Yon Yi, to see the evolution. And it's interesting what you said that this is one of the seven habits of highly effective people because
mm.
efficient people, because I don't think that artists are, I don't think we're
Ah,
trying to be, I mean, maybe effective, but maybe in a different way than a CEO is. Do you know what I mean? I'm certainly not trying to be efficient. If I was, it would do very different. So I think it's interesting when we kind of take these things and bring them into our practice without realizing it. It's a good self-realization that you had there. I wonder what I wonder what ideas about how to be in the world I have that infect my practice that don't have anything to do with my practice. Hmm.
oh, also, I was saying because I think I'm about 80% of my application and proposal and putting my thought together into some sort of presenter format. But I would really appreciate any other artist that you can think of doing this, apart from, Francis Ayers doing the walk around Mexican border and that sort of thing. That I would really appreciate any other names you can throw in. Um,
I
what
mean,
else?
does Richard
Yeah.
Diebenkorn fit in this world?
Okay, what's his name? Can you put it in chat, please?
Is there any possibility we could see some of the work up close? Because we've only seen images, um, 5 foot away from the artwork, and I'd love to see it up detail if that's possible.
You have to open
Okay,
our
let's.
book.
Yeah.
He's got her images in the book, so I was delighted to see them hanging up in a huge gallery space to get a sense of scale.
Mm-mm.
Really nice to see.
But in the presentation, there may be a few close-ups because it's
Okay.
hard to envision. I mean, Kate's seen your work. I haven't seen your work. So I really,
All right.
you're saying it's
Sure.
lines, but I don't see. I mean, yeah, it just looks so skilled, and it's just a shame not to see it.
Oh, okay. This might be a good one.
So do you mean Claire for when she's making her presentation to the university more?
Yeah, I mean, this isn't close up. This is not what I call detail. I was just like, if you actually went and took a photograph of this, like macro
Got it.
even,
Yeah.
so that you can see what, if you were standing in front of it, how what it would look like to your naked eye if you were 2 foot away. Whereas this
Good
is
point.
really
Okay.
far away.
Okay. That's good point. In the book, actually, Now
Because
that
then
the book is mentioned.
it could lead you on to talking about your process, and
Good point.
materials, method.
Yep.
I'm fascinated how they totally change when they're hung in different ways. So I'm really fascinated by how they look vertically versus horizontally. And then that one where you had the image of them all stacked together horizontally, it almost became
Mm.
like a weaving. It sort of became like,
Ah,
yeah, like a, I don't know, if where you're talking about sort of traditional threads and craft and things like that, it just became something else again when you had
mm.
it installed in that way. It was really interesting.
Yes, it is, isn't it? Where is the other one?
I think it was in your second presentation near the library image.
Right. Ah, getting all. Okay. Share. This one. Yeah.
My screen is frozen, so I can't see at the moment, but yeah, that one.
Yes, you might remember in secular building. Oh no, we don't call it secular. The painting building in Battersea. The building was purpose built. So some of the studio had a whole wall 3 meter high. So I had this down at the ground floor studio and stack it up during that time. So these are basically 180 by 60. So putting into 6 times 5, 6 5 is how 6, 120, 180, 240, three. Yeah, it requires more than 3 meter high wall. So that's how I put it in. And it does look like a stream at the time. That's how I come up with title of stream. Funny thing is, even though I keep saying myself and other people, my work has no meaning whatsoever, but then finish the work, I find myself going back to putting title of something like a reminiscence of nature, like stream or shadow or cascade or spring, summer, winters. Maybe it's in our inheritance, like a learned culture thing. I'm going all over the place, but
I wonder.
I'm also reading.
This is where your Buddhism would be influencing these ideas too, wouldn't it? About returning to nature and finding these elemental ideas.
Possibly. I'm also reading the book called Map of Meaning. What's his name? Jordan Patterson. Yeah. And this is called, that's that. Mine is all very blur. Anyway, the idea that I'm actually entertaining at the moment is that, we are all individual, but somehow we have all this, like 100,000 years of human knowledge actually accumulated in our brain the moment that we are born. And when kids growing up, this is all reinforced or kind of remembered by parents teaching, friends interaction, and school exercise, etc. So going back to, yes, maybe Buddhist teaching, or actually it's more of Taoism, that nature, harmony with the nature thing. If I may say so, Buddhist understanding is basically our one person is a universe, and anybody can be a Buddha by practicing enlightening and get out of this recycle of reincarnation whatsoever, which also has a Hinduism base and all sort of things. I'm really enjoying all this process and see how these things also link with Western philosophy and other things. And a lot of these things, I really find a lot of Greek concept and ideas correspondent with very old Chinese teachings. So in my dissertation, I'm thinking of having that as a very basic start of, again, epigeothermy and technique, and then going through the process of reduction and the process-based work. And that's how I am thinking of building up my thesis space. And then with the practice, I'm doing that in my own exhibition. So I'm thinking of doing part-time, which is about 6 years, which is okay because uh, I'm very slow painter. I like to do things and think about and go back and that sort of thing. So that's the plan at the moment. Here I am again. I'm planning it. Do I claim I'm not planning it?
I think it's not a bad idea to plan your PhD, honestly. And I'm in it full time and it's way too fast. You know, I'm gonna transfer to part-time as soon as I can, just so that I can stretch it out, and have the time to really sit with the work. It's just too much. But I was thinking, Yon Yi, while you and Sharon were talking, that your work, I mean, just to throw this out there, it sits in such um abstraction. It sits in such an abstracted place in thought and in affect anyway, that I wonder if looking at titling as an opportunity for something, for text to sit next to the piece rather than to describe or
Ah,
might be
hold
better.
on.
Yeah, because then you have an opportunity to bring text into the gallery space, and it's just a container that holds the text. They don't actually have to refer to each other. It can just be a living adjacency. And that might free you up a little bit to just say whatever you want to say.
Also,
Oh, that's
my
excellent
question
point.
is,
Yeah.
if we're talking about this work being conversation between you and the work and the process, I'm very fascinated by that. Conversation is a very gentle conversation. You have to listen really carefully to each other. And is it a slow conversation, or is it just a very quiet, subtle conversation, or is it both?
How does it, why is it different? Slow, subtle, gentle.
Um, I don't know. I maybe maybe something over time just becomes more drawn out and more translucent. I don't know.
Oh, that's wonderful word. Thank you. I'm going to write it drawn out. Sharon, you always have a really good vocabulary, which I'm
Thanks.
struggling. Oh, something to share. I use ChatGPT quite a lot in my application, etc. And they ask in the application guideline, if you had used AI, please indicate so. Sign of times, isn't it? So at the bottom, I have to say, note, yes, I used ChatGPT for this. I think it is sort of accepted practice these days.
When I
And
went
there are
through,
still stories about university exams that some university have a trouble with students using ChatGPT all the time. But in application, they put it up front. Hey, if you use AI, just say so.
so in at University of Leeds in the PGR program, you have to go through like a week-long training on how to properly use. They don't use ChatGPT in the school, but they use whatever the Microsoft OneDrive one is. But they actually really actively encourage you to use it as long as you're within their guidelines. I'm not sure if this is like a future skills thing that they're all on the bandwagon for, and I have my own feelings about it, but I think that um, they mention it on the thing because it's an academic, because they can tell if you use it or not by reading it, and it's an academic responsibility thing to cop to it, to say that you've used it. And so yeah, anyway, yeah, it's
Briefly on that, I have a question then. Is it that you're using it as almost like a research assistant to sort of say, go find this, pull this together, amalgamate that so that you can then take a view on it, or you can, yeah, is that how you're sort of being trained to use it?
Personally, I wrote the things and then I sent it to ChatGPT. Please make it more focused within 250 words.
mm.
And then it comes back. and then I rewrite it because there are kind of redundancy in it. They sort of repeat itself and then cut down the things that actually I wanted to include and I put them those back. So basically editing process. I use it, yeah, more of a writing assistant. Anybody using Zotero?
Which
Yeah,
one?
G
RCA.
Gotero. I didn't use it when I was in RCA, but it was introduced by the library staff at the time, and I think I should use. Who's using it?
Yeah.
You found it helpful, Natasha?
Um, I don't remember.
But you used Zotero?
I feel, yeah, that I remember them telling us to use that one, but I don't remember.
Ah,
My coach now uses Otter
okay.
and won't
That's
use
another tool.
won't use chat. I was thinking of Sharon's question to you about the conversation, and I was looking at the work and thinking it feels more like quiet instruction from one to the other, from like the master, the sensei to the student. And I thought because there's the confidence to do less and to be so there's like that quiet strength and then the confidence to do less. It's like, yeah, that change from master to student. So it's like one of you is one of you is the other, and you're just conversing in that way. And having that faith to do less, less narrative. There's all progression, which is really, really impressive. And what was the other thing I wrote down? Yeah, less narrative is great because I feel like we're often told to do a lot more narrative. It's like everyone wants to hear the story. Um, so I think it's great that you're telling people, no, just listen to what I've said and hear the amount of story I've told you, and that's it. I like it.
Thank you. That reminds me of the degree show. Again, in RCA, during our time, there was a lot of online presentation was encouraged, wasn't it? Because of the COVID and all that.
Mm,
And my tutor at the time, I think it was John Slice in painting, saying, look, construct your page, our degree page, as if you have a gallery curator or gallery director coming to your studio. Construct it in that way. You are showing your work. So I
mm,
titled it. I have 5 pages, I think, and then had each page is titled as "Come and sit with me and listen to my work in my studio." So those are 5 pages, and I gradually move into that.
mm,
Thanks, Natasha. It's a good reminder. Maybe I just continue to say, "Come sit with me
mm.
and listen to my work."
Nice. Yeah. I was thinking as well, about work that I have that has less on, because I mentioned in my presentation about when I'm like how I occupy space in the Caribbean to the UK, and some of the works I noticed the also working on fabric, they have less on them in the Caribbean than they do in the UK. And I wonder if it's about a comfort that you have as well to put less. So I think Kate was asking about what you're doing differently. Is there a comfort as well as the confidence in where you are now to before?
Oh, okay. Good point. Again, I was just reminded of the scene from the movie called The Boy. And the mom is a single mom, bringing up this boy and sibling or whatever. Anyway, mom's comment was that some part of my life, I continue to accumulate things. And now I reach the stage of my life, I'm actually declutter myself and try to give away and have a less.
Mm.
Maybe I'm at that stage. I'm an empty nester. Both my son and daughter grown up, work and married, have their own. So my husband and me, we travel. Like this time, I was traveling 3 weeks, and earlier this year we are away like 12 weeks.
Mm.
And whenever I travel, I just realize how little we need
Mm.
in our daily basis, isn't it? Just bit of comfortable clothes, little bit of space, and take care of the daily thing. Of course, when you travel, we eat out a lot, but we try to
Mm.
be in sort of small kitchen-based apartment accommodation. I belong to Singapore group, which has a apartment hotel based around the world. And that's what I was in Korea as well. Very simple
Mm.
meal in the morning in the kitchen sort of thing. So going back to what you said, Natasha, yes, we are, I'm probably at the stage of I'm comfortable and confident, having less around
Mm.
me. I still have my big apartment, but every once in a while, it's, all right, what can I get rid of? What can I give this to my son or to my daughter? Sort of thing.
Nice. Nice. Thanks
Mm.
for sharing.
Thanks for listening and thanks for contribution.
Nice.
Thanks for your work, Yon Yi.
It's been
Pleasure.
lovely to see
Cheerio.
your work. Lovely. Lovely to see your work.
Kate, do you want to just quickly talk about Saturday and if anyone else is coming along to present, or do they have spoken word?
Yeah, it's Saturday.
Saturday, sorry. Did I say?
I was like, did I have it wrong?
Sorry, Saturday.
Yeah, we have, I think, 5 people reading and 4 people performing, so it should be really good. We have Laura Miglariano up in the front, who's a Fulbright scholar from the United States, who's doing she's at the end of her residency, and her thing is who really wrote Othello. So she's discovered this woman, Emilia Bossano, who she thinks actually wrote Othello. Anyway, she was in Shakespeare archives, and has made a little mini globe and done that. So she'll have her open studio from 12 to 9, and then from 3 to 5 there's a writing workshop. If anybody wants to come do it, James Miller is doing it. It's called How to Start Your Story, which should be really good. And then from 5 to 7 is the reading and performances. So we'll do probably 2 readings, 1 performance, 2 readings, another performance, like that. And then from 7 to 9 is live jazz and drinks. So you just sort of hang out. Yeah. So please come by. We're going to do another show in January that's going to be unlike anything I've ever put together before. And I'd love for you guys to, if you want to play here, you're always more than welcome to be part of whatever we're doing down here. So the January show is called The Myth Eaters, which is the name of my piece that I'm working on here, and we're going to spread it to be the title of the show, and we're going to do a writing-based show in January where we're going to put actual writing around, and I'll tell you more about that later. But if anybody who hasn't reached out wants to read, there's still time. You can read whatever you want. You can read your selection from the book. You can write a piece of work and read it, or you can just do spoken word, just slam event if you'd like. Yeah.
Claire, can I just ask you, are you coming or planning on coming at all?
I hope so. I've got a really mad busy week, but yeah.
I'm just wondering if I could hook up with you to bring the books if you're not coming.
Yeah.
I'd bring the remainder of the books with me.
Yeah. I think it might be just easier for me to go rather than hook up and, because it's in the week that's really mad. Yeah. But if I have anything, I should be able to go. Should be able to go.
I'd love to see you. Yeah, we can put the books out and sell a couple copies maybe.
Yeah, that'd be
Yeah.
brilliant.
Yeah, it'd be lovely to have you guys read your work anyway and just see it all together. Yeah.
So Yasmin, you're coming to read? Brilliant. Karen, are you coming to read?
Yes, I wasn't sure that there was going to be an event, but I could come, yeah.
You're down to read. You sent stuff to Sally, yeah?
Yes, but she didn't send any information that there was actually going to be an event aside from me and Sharon showing up or something along those lines. So yeah, so this is the first I've heard of
She
any.
told me today that she emailed you back and said that we don't have a run schedule yet, but that she'll get back to you as soon as we're finished making sure how long everybody's piece is and stuff. So yeah, there's definitely an event. We just haven't sent the run schedule to the people yet.
Great.
Okay.
It'd be just great to have as many I Am Human readers there, and then yeah, the book could be great.
Yeah, wonderful.
Cool. I think we only have one more presentation, which is hopefully Patrick, if he pulls himself out of the middle of China back in time to present next week. And then we have to think about if we can get together for a Christmas catch up before December or the beginning of December. So I'll be in touch.
Great.
Thank you, Yon Yi.
Thank
Thank
you.
Yeah,
you.
thanks, Sharon, again for the books as well. I received them and they look great.
Oh, great. That's great. I'm
I've
glad
been
you
showing to quite a few people in my studio. And just one more thing, I'm in Wellington Arts Center studio. And then we are moving next year, and I've been pitching the idea, doing something similar. You know, everybody can contribute some writing and having a little booklet as a team project, and they seem to like it.
Great.
Nice.
Fab. All right. Thanks,
Ciao,
everyone.
ciao. Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Thank
Everyone,
you.
take care.
See you soon.
Bye bye.